Point the sun, we're done with Blight. Welcome back, everyone, to another Dark Souls journal. Progress has been made this past week. I'm so excited. The first week, it was like, yeah, we're doing stuff. This is fun. I'm discovering. Week 2 was hard. Week 2 felt like what I was expecting from Dark Souls was a little demoralizing. But week 3, so much progress has been made. I have overcome my wall and I have unearthed all sorts of new stuff. So join me as I tell you a tale of a Blightown, of a naked lady on a spider, and a discharge that does not cease. So this past week, when we left off last week, I had no idea where to go. I went into the depth, and as I learned from my editor, that was not Blightown, as I kept calling it in my last journal. So I was in the depth, and I was stuck at the part where there's basilisks, and I was trying to avoid the holes, and I really could not progress. I had no idea how to go lower. Well, after taking a vacation, reflecting on things, and being like, you know what? It's time to face your fears. Maybe the only way through is to kill some basilisks, and we have killed many monsters in our days. So I'm like, you know what? We're going to go in the hole, and we're going to kill those basilisks, and we are going to plow through this game. So into the hole I went, a basilisk I killed, and somehow I didn't find any others, and that was it. I progressed. So avoiding the basilisk was really not the way to do this. All I had to do was confront my fear, kill it, move on. So from there, it gave me access to that big open area in the depths where I knew that there was a boss. And of course, we came to the white door. We poked in there, and there's a little alligator that's like, I'm your boss. And you're like, oh, that's so cute. And then it's like, rah, the big gaping hole with a bunch of teeth in it, which is nightmare fuel. It was disgusting. It's called the Gaping Dragon. I hate it. And it killed me on one hit when I just looked at it, because I was like, oh, I can surely fight this. And then it just went, whomp, nope, you're dead, in true Dark Souls fashion. At this point, I was still cursed, so I was like, there's no point in going back and fighting the gaping maw of teeth. And so I went on a quest to gather some souls so that I couldn't curse myself, because my broke ass couldn't afford any anymore. So I learned about farming at the Drake. I would go up to the bridge where the dragon was. He would flame all the undead, give me 500 souls, go to the bonfire, rinse and repeat until we have 6,000, or I thought 4,000, but then I learned it's 6,000 because the moss lady, she really ups the fee on her stones of purification that gets rid of your curse. So anyways, we got our 6,000 souls. We got our purification stone. The moss lady was happy. She got to pet her moss, and back we went into the gaping dragon, and slayed it we did, but not without some troubles. So this was a big clunky monster, which I'm like, all right, I've killed lots of big clunky monsters. I'm down for this. I can do big monsters. Lots of teeth, a tail, 4 legs. I got this. For the most part, I did. But he hit hard, and the few times he would get me with the jump. When he'd jump, I couldn't get the camera up because, you know, we're dealing with like 2000 camera, like the year 2000, but like 2010, whatever. And I just couldn't get and then he would land on me. I couldn't get the camera to work, and he would land on me, and that would kill me. And so I regained my humanity as per suggestion of the chat, because there are things to learn about having your humanity. And before the dragon, there's a message, and it's like, do you want to summon like help or Solaire or something? And so I was like, you know what? I hear so much about Solaire. I want to know all about the praising the sun. So let's get him on board and see what Solaire is all about. And so Solaire showed up, and the chat assured me that this would make the fight easier, but they said, you know what? If you want to experience Solaire, now's the time to do it. You can cheese this fight, just don't cheese the fights after. So I was like, all right, Solaire pal, come with me. So Solaire came, he hacked away at some HP on the gaping dragon, and he died, unfortunately, if he's not dead already. But that did help me get that health down, which let me finish it off with a few hits. I learned that, you know what? You cannot like parry or block these things. So off with the shield we went, 2-handed axe, off we go, and the gaping dragon died. And a big sense of achievement, progress, and victory for me. That gave me the key to Blightown, but more importantly, it also gave me 20,000 souls, which I was like, hey, wait a minute. The last time I was at the smithy, he had an item that cost 20,000 souls, which gives me access to the forest. So instead of going further south or further down into this hellhole, why don't we go see what's in the pretty forest instead of going to what is probably going to be Blightown? So I went back to the smithy, got my stone, killed the little mini boss that threw lightning there. He actually turned out to be easy now that I figured out how to move in this game a little bit. So I killed that stone thing, off into the woods I went to get molested by trees. And I opened the door and I walked in there. I was like, yeah, new area. And then like a wizard and a knight ganked me. And I was just so scared because they killed me a lot. And I was like chopping at their health very little. So I was like, this forest is terrible. So people are like, just try again, just run through them. So off I went with my clothes, naked boy, let's go. And I booked it through the forest, streaking like a little naked man that I was, trying to avoid everything. And I ran one direction and it just attracted a bunch of trees that made a whipping pole out of me. Like I got stuck on a cliff and I looked back at these trees in my little naked body and they were like, it's time for a whipping, and they whipped me good and they killed me. And then I went back for another naked streak, and this time I did not run towards the trees. I ran towards other trees that were not so alive. And I ended up with like a cat thing. I was like, oh no, what is this like cat, hedgehog, badger thing? And I started fighting it. I was like, oh, I can maybe like win, but I was still like really panicking. And then a second one showed up. I was like, oh no, what are you doing? And I'm like, wait, this one's almost dead. I can do it. And I kill it. And then the third one shows up and I was like, oh no. And then I was like, you know what? I'm not doing this. I'm getting out of here. So off I went, streaking further into the forest. I really don't know what happened. This was the wildest moment of Dark Souls I've ever had. I didn't know, I had no orientation. I ran, there was a cat. I thought it was like going to be a demon thing. It turned out it was an NPC. So I ran by that. I kept running. And I ended up at the beginning of how I entered the forest, having achieved nothing but picking up some gear that I'm probably not going to wear. So that was a journey and a half. I'm not looking forward to going back into that forest because it was creepy. I also saw some mushroom man. You know what? They look so innocent. I was like, hell no. Anything in Dark Souls that looks menacing is deadly. I bet you the cuddly cute things are probably even worse than that. I've seen enough of these games to know the cuter it is, the worse it is. So I didn't even go close to the mushroom man. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take my chances in Blightown. Let's go. So I went down, unlocked the door to Blightown, saw this big hole. And the first thing I see is this big chunky dude. And I was like, oh man, mini boss already. And people are like, ha ha ha, not chunky dudes, regular mobs. I was like, oh, are you serious? Blightown, I have to deal with this as like my common enemy. And so the first one, you know, it was a struggle, but then I realized, wait a minute, when they're big, they're slow. When they're slow, I can parry. So I was like, it's time to bring back the parry god. And so parry we did. And I was able to parry all these things and I was not panicking. Like I invoked the parry skill and I could kill all of these fat dudes pretty easily with parry. Then we ran into the skinny dudes. Those guys killed me once, but then I learned that, you know what? We're not going to parry. We're not going to dodge. 4 hits on them and you can interrupt them and then just spam 4 hits and they're done. So I just made sure to hit them before they hit me. The big dudes I parried, and then the rest of it was pretty much just platforming. I ran into this thing that people called, I think, like Dart or something. Anyway, the guy that shoots like little poison darts at you from afar, most annoying character ever. So I would seek him out and kill him every time because he stays permadead. The rest of Blightown was pretty, honestly, not as bad as I thought it would be. I just kept like exploring, working my way down. I did not struggle as much with the enemies here as I did with all the other like areas. And I think it's just because I'm getting comfortable with the play style of the game. So I think it took me about an hour and I made it to the bottom of Blightown. Luckily, people told me that there was a bonfire in the area. So I actually actively looked for it because the first time I missed it, that sent me all the way up. If I did not find... If I had not found that bonfire, it would have probably felt worse having to go down every time I died. But I don't think I died that much in that area. So, made it down to the bottom of Blightown and made it to this swamp. And that confused me for a while because I was like, where am I supposed to go? Everything poisons me. I saw a tree and chat all went like, yes, yes, go to the tree. Like, I'm like, okay, there's clearly something that's going to kill me in that tree. So I didn't want to go. I went to the tree anyways because I'm like, I don't know where else to go. I climbed a tree, I found a chest, and I left. And then people were disappointed because apparently I didn't trigger the thing that was in the tree that they wanted me to trigger. But I was like, this seems like a dead end. I couldn't figure out what to do. So I kept walking around and people just kept saying, you want to go down, you want to go down. The swamp is the place to go. And so I kept like hugging walls and moving around. And then I saw like from afar this like big spider nest. I was like, that's probably where we got to go. And I don't want to go there. So before I went there was like a conveyor belt that confused me, but going up the conveyor belt unlocked, like I found this spell that gives you immunity to poison. So I was really suffering from a lot of poison. Like I was going through like moss like crazy. I had stocked up on a lot of moss from going in the forest because all the trees drop moss. So actually the forest was a good thing in hindsight because I had all this moss to protect me from the poison. So anyways, when I got the spell, I was like, oh, finally I can get rid of the poison. But turns out I'm too dumb to learn, like literally my character is too dumb. His intelligence is not high enough to learn that spell. And it would be 5 levels to grind intelligence up. So I'm like, well, I'm not going to get that many levels at the rate souls are dropping. And people are like, it's just too late. Like you can't build, you can't spec in mage at this point. I'm like level 30. So I was like, okay, this spell's useless. Let's go see the spider. And I was like, of course, a spider in Dark Souls makes sense. It's not that I don't like spiders. It's just that I find them really gross when they are in big boss form and you can see like all the hairs on their legs and they do like that sound. It's just disgusting. So I was going in here with like, what am I going to see? And a spider we saw, but a half naked lady we also see, which like kind of balances things out. I was not expecting a half naked lady to be on the spider. And so, all right. So I fought this, of course I died, but this was one of the funnest fights. So this was Chaos Witch quelaag, and I have to say this felt like Monster Hunter in a way. It was a fight where the monster had a very easy read on what it was going to do. It had a very like comfortable arena to move in, unlike Capra Demon, and it felt like a fair fight. So I learned very early on that I want to stick close to it because if you go too far, she does her like sword moves and then you're going to die, especially when she thrusts you. She like invades you from the front. Her invasion sensation is through your face and you're dead. So I'm like, okay, I got to get away. And then I learned pretty early on that when she lies down on her spider, that's like her big boom. So if you see her go down, you got to like roll back twice really quick so you don't get caught in that or else you're dead. So once I learned those, it was just putting that together and whack away at the spider. We don't need the shield because we can't block. So two-handed, let's go. And then it's just follow it, stay close to it, hack, 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 roll away. And the thing died. It was a very satisfying fight because, yeah, you have to die a few times to learn what like it's going to do. But once that clicks, oh, it feels great. So from that, we rang the second bell, and finally this big gate opened up near the Onion Knight. And I was like, there's so much done. My initial quest of ringing the bells is done. I don't know what it did other than open that gate. It really feels like I just started the game, honestly. So from there, I don't know why, there was a wall that was calling to me, and I'm just like, this wall looks suspicious, and I rolled towards it, and it turns out it was an invisible wall. And through that, we found the I didn't write the name, but we found, I think, the spider lady's sister. There was like another spider lady stuck in the wall, and you could offer her humanity and you could like pledge yourself to her. So everybody said do it. I don't remember what it did. I think it gave me like another fire spell. I don't know if this is good or bad or what I should do with this thing. It was just kind of cool because now I'm starting to see like a world come together that, oh, okay, these bosses have siblings. One of them was bad. This one's stuck in the wall. Why is she there? She can't talk to me. Apparently there's an item that lets me talk to her. So I was like, oh, cool. So then we keep going, and now we're like in hell. Everything's lava, and there's a bunch of things to explore. So I'm getting close to the end of the stream. So I'm like, let me just like look what's out here. And of course there's like this big like demon fire thing. I was like, oh, wow, another boss right away. And it was like, I'm like, I don't want to go near that. And people are like, it's sleeping, go see. So I'm like, okay. So I like tiptoe near it, and it's not doing anything. Like I'm right in front of it. And I was like, I'm going to die. And it's not moving. And then I see a shiny. So I'm like, let's go see what that is. And turns out it was like a dead knight or something that had, I guess, the Spider Queen's like clothes or something. So as soon as I stole that, the Ceaseless Discharge, as I learned it was called, was not too happy, opened up into a boss. Turns out it's like her brother. And he came at me, and I'm just like, no, I'm not ready for a boss. So like, I'm just running. I'm like, let's go back to the bonfire and call it a night. So I run. And I get stopped by the white wall. I was like, oh no, I'm stuck in a hallway with a white wall. So like, I'm fenced into this corner, and there's this massive Ceaseless Discharge coming at me. And I'm just like, what am I gonna do? And then like a big like tumor thing drops in front of me. I was like, what is this? And like out of pure panic, I'm like stuck up against the wall. I'm like, well, I'm not gonna go down without a fight. I start hacking at the tumor, and like I see that it's hitting the boss's life a bit. So I'm like, all right, we're hurting it, and it only takes away maybe 10% of its life, and then all of a sudden I just see all the life go away. The whole thing falls into the lava and dies, and I'm like, what the heck just happened? Did I just kill another boss? Was this like another hack? Was this supposed to happen? Is this like the whatever that the Taurus demon like jumping off the bridge? Did this just really happen again? And I'm not sure if like that's how you're supposed to end the fight, or if I found a secret like way to kill it easily. But anyways, he died, so another boss off the list. Off to the bonfire I went, and I'm just like, whew, what a game. Like, what an emotional roller coaster of stuff. So that's where I'm at now. I have 3 areas I can go, I think. I think I can go... Oh yeah, because killing that thing drained a lot of the lava. So I can go further into hell now. I can go through the gates into the castle, or I can go back to the forest. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to start the next stream by going more into the lava because I'm there. And then the second place, I'm really curious to see what's in that castle. And then the forest, I don't want to go back there because I got whipped bad, and I don't see any appeal of exploring that forest. Things just feel too powerful there. So we have about 20 bosses left to kill, and I feel like things are starting to click for me because I feel like this was a comfortable amount of progress. So let's go. I'm not as scared of the game now, but hey, maybe we're gonna hit another wall. I'm really looking forward to seeing what this game has to offer. So that's where I'm at. I'll see you in the next journal as I make more progress. And until next time, keep it classy.